Hey, good day, folks. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. This is going to be part 2 of my Logansport video. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you're looking for general information about Logansport, go to my first video that I made yesterday of Logansport. On this video, obviously you guys are going to be seeing more of Logansport. But I'm going to also have a conversation because I feel is very relevant to the times on this video. And I think it's a very important conversation to have. It's going to be an honest one. And it's going to be about what's going on in today's economy. It's going to be about this current recession that we're facing. Now, for starters, we've been in a recession for about 1.5 years, give or take. And so anyhow, I want to know what you guys, first of all, I want to know how many of you guys have currently suffered a job loss, a pay cut, or a combination of both. I want to know when you lost your job, and I also want to know what it is you're doing to make up for that lost income. So, I also want you guys to give me your opinion or what you guys think about what's going on right now. Like, what do you guys think that caused this whole economic fiasco to go on? Drop a comment below. And I would like to come back later and do a video. And on that video, I would like to just share the comments that you guys put in the comment section about this particular topic. And another thing I want to know from you guys is, for those of you that are old enough to have been through the last recession, the recession of 2008, I want to know what happened to you during that time, what lessons you've learned from that recession, and how are you implementing those lessons this time around to where this time around you and your family will be better off. And I also want to know from you guys, what do you guys think about this current housing market? I want to hear your stories. Are you buying? Are you not buying? Are you selling? How successful are you at doing all that? I want to hear your stories. Now, okay, so I'm going to give you guys my take on everything. Well, for starters, one of the main reasons why I'm making this video is because I get so sick and tired of all these fake so-called real estate gurus and all these so-called financial gurus jumping up on social media and telling people to do a bunch of ridiculous stuff. Like, I'll give you an example. There's several larger YouTube channels that talk about real estate. And basically, they're encouraging their followers to do stuff that would be detrimental for their financial future, such as taking a HELOC against their primary residence, or for that matter, taking out any kind of a loan against their primary residence, and basically treating their primary residence like it was their personal bank. That's a very bad idea. It's bad information. Because if you choose to take out, let's say, a HELOC against your home, and let's say you lose your job. How are you going to be able to pay that loan back? You're not. I mean, there's even people that have houses that are paid off, that are supposedly, they're going and they're taking out HELOCs on their houses. Now, my philosophy is, if my house is paid off, I'm not taking nothing against my house. Nothing, not a damn thing. That is just stupid. That's idiotic. And when you look at the reasons why most people take out HELOCs or other loans against their property, it's not because they're starving and they gotta feed their family. No, it ain't for those reasons. It's for, I gotta have a new bathroom put in my house. Man, this bathroom is so 1990s. This is so early 2000s, man. It's 2023. I gotta update. You ain't gotta update Jack. I mean, you don't gotta update crap. Oh, I gotta go buy a new car. You know, my car is 15 years old. The leather is starting to rip in the driver's seat. Oh, poor soul. You don't gotta buy a new car. You wanna buy a new car. You don't have to remodel your house. You wanna remodel your house. You don't have to take that trip to Cancun. You wanna take that trip to Cancun. And you know, we all want what we want. But there comes a point where, are you going to act like a child and do what you want to do and then wonder why certain things happen to you later? And then you're going to be crying that woe is me? Or you're going to be responsible, grow up, be an adult, and start making decisions as an adult makes decisions. And have a more systematic approach to how it is that you live your life. I mean, what is it going to be? At some point as grown-ups, we got to start asking ourselves those type of questions. Like, I mean, right now, in both of my houses, I mean, now granted, there's some work that I need to do to my house here in Indiana. Now, my house in Alabama, I mean, the house is very 1960-ish, because that was the era in which that house was built. Am I in a hurry to go update that house? Hell no, it don't need it. Everything in the house works like it's supposed to, so I don't need it. I mean, I'm one of these kind of people that when it comes to updating, I update only when I have to, not because I want to. I don't give a crap about my kitchen being from the 1960s. If everything in that kitchen or that bathroom works the way it's supposed to, there's no leaking or any of that type of nonsense going on, you know what? I'm not updating. There's no need to. In my humble opinion, it's money that does not need to be spent, so therefore it is money that is being wasted. So if you're getting ready, and another thing is, another reason why many people are taking out loans against their primary residence is because every other person wants to get into real estate. Nobody wants to go to work no more. Nobody wants to work a 9 to 5. Oh man, 9 to 5, I can't do it. Nah, man, nah, I ain't feeling that. I want to get into real estate. I want to own my business. I want to travel the world. I want to buy that, you know, I'm trying to get that Maserati in my job, all that madness. So you got a lot of folks out here taking out all kind of loans against their primary residence, running up all type of debt in the name of wanting to get into real estate. And of course, a lot of these gurus, so-called real estate gurus and financial gurus, they're going to give you guys examples of people that are well known, people that are well known who may have gotten into real estate. They did exceptionally well, and now they're multimillionaires. So they're going to take those stories and 9.9 times out of 10, they're going to take the story completely out of context. It's going to be to the point where the story is no longer the story. That's how much out of context they're going to take it. Like, they might use certain examples like Warren Buffett. Or this, I forgot this woman's name, but she used to be on Shark Tank. She's from New York. And she's a big time investor in New York. They might take her story completely out of context. And then, of course, a lot of these so-called real estate gurus who, on the side note, the vast majority of them never owned real estate before. What happened was they went out, they learned a few of they learned the language a little bit. They learned some of the lingo that is oftentimes used in the real estate industry. But a lot of these individuals have never really owned real estate themselves. They're probably living somewhere in their mom's basement, or they're living somewhere in their mom's spare bedroom, talking crazy, just talking a bunch of nonsense, making it sound good. Because a lot of these so-called gurus know that many of you have gotten extremely lazy. You don't want to work for nothing no more. You don't want to do your own due diligence. You want to just go on social media and listen to some goon tell you about how they're 25 years old and now and they done moved multi-million dollars with the real estate. They're making X amount of money. They're driving around in their Maserati. They're living in a mansion. They own 100 pieces of real estate. And back when they were 21, they were working at Burger King. And now at 25, they doing it big. So, you guys, you listen to that bull crap, you eat it up for breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. You believe every bit of it. And then one day, many of you wake up, you ain't got no money, you broke, you're probably, you may have gotten arrested, and now you're having a fight for your freedom because you come to find out that you done broke some laws. You probably committed tax evasion and all kinds of craziness. And I'm here to let you guys know, don't have so much pride that you go the path of doing illegal stuff for your money, as opposed to maybe getting a 9-to-5. So if you're out here, you're doing gig work, maybe you got your own little business, and a couple of years ago you was making money hand over fist because every other person had a stimulus check in their hand. Every other person probably wasn't even paying their rent due to the moratorium. And now that the moratorium is over, now that much of your stimulus funds have dried up, and now that people are having to pay back student loans on top of that, some of you guys are discovering that, your little small business is not making the money that it used to make. It may not even make the money that you needed to make in order for you to survive and pay your bills and maintain financial responsibility. And I think that's what happened during the gig economy. That's what happened in the gig economy. Back during the pandemic, if you work DoorDash or any of them gig apps, some people, they were making pretty good money. They're making more money doing that than what they made working their 9-to-5. And now you got a lot of people, myself included, that are jumping online, and we're telling you guys, we're complaining that, these apps are no longer paying enough money to where most of us can do that as a primary source of income and be able to pay all of our bills. Many of us are finding out now that, many of us are discovering that our pay might be 50% of what it used to be a couple of years or so ago. So people like myself had to go back and work a 9-to-5 in order to make the money necessary to take care of our financial obligations. And I'm not saying to go back to a 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. I'm not going to do it for the rest of my life. I'm just saying for the time being until you figure out something better. Something to where you can do your own thing, but yet still be able to, maintain financial responsibility until you figure out a better plan than doing, let's say, DoorDash or Spark or whatever. Like for me, that's what I'm doing. I'm working my little 9 to 5 until I figure out something better. But in the meantime, I'm at least putting myself in a position to where I can maintain financial responsibility and, pay all my bills and all that good stuff. So for those of you that are out here, you've been doing your own thing for the last couple of years or so, do yourself a favor, do your family a favor, and don't have so much freaking pride that you neglect to take care of business. You neglect to do what's in the better interest of you and or your family. If you recognize that you're not making enough money doing your own thing, you need to maybe do your own thing part-time and go back to working a day job full-time. And there's a lot of you like myself that love to travel. We love to just get up and go wherever, whenever, and however. And I will get back to that type of life. When, to be quite frank, I don't know. Because I'm just the kind of person that, I love what I love. I love to travel. However, I'm not gonna stay doing what I was doing and then risk going broke. Next thing you know, I'm making all kind of van life videos. Not because I'm traveling the country in my van. It'll be because I'm out of money and now I have no option but to live in my van. So, yeah, I'm not going to be that stupid. Now, no disrespect for those of you that are caught up on hard times and you have to live out of your vehicle. No disrespect. I'm just saying. You know that there's a recession going on right now. You know that more job losses are getting ready to continue to grow. You know everything right now is crazy expensive and it's going to most likely get more expensive before prices finally begins to taper down a little bit. You probably know that your money is not where it needs to be. Your retirement fund, if you even have one, is not near what it should be. You probably have little to no emergency fund. You probably have no FU money. And if you're in that situation and you recognize you're not making enough money to survive off of doing your own thing, then yeah, you might want to go ahead and get you a 9 to 5. You might want to go ahead and get you a second job. And and as far as some of the lessons I've learned from the last recession, which I'm implementing right now during this recession, is other than the fact that I recognized my money was not where it should be, so therefore I decided to take a step back and get me a 9 to 5 and go back to working a 9 to 5 for the time being. But some other lessons I've learned during the last recession is other than the fact that I need to keep close tabs on my money to make sure I don't go broke. I also learned to not ever put myself in a situation to where I'm stuck in one place, which kind of coincides with what I said earlier when I was talking about my money. Because what I mean by that is, like, I'm gonna give you guys an example. Like during the last recession, I was living in Toledo, Ohio. I was broker than brokety broke. I have ran through my last dollar, my last penny, to the point where I had to eat, to the point where the only way that I was going to eat was to take those weekly trips to the local Salvation Army. And then ultimately, the state of Ohio had enough grace on my situation to give me food stamps. So I was therefore able to go and shop at Myers, which was down the street from my house at the time, Myers and Walmart, and I was able to buy groceries. However, I did not have enough money to really go anywhere, to go find work. I mean, I didn't have enough money to leave Toledo until I would say about 5 months or so after I first ran out of all my money, because that's how long it took me to finally land a job. And to make a long story short, when things didn't work out with my last job that I had in Toledo, I had enough money at that time to load up my car, which at the time it was a Chevy Cavalier, and I drove over into Indianapolis, and I lived out of my car for a couple of months while I got myself reestablished financially in Indianapolis. Now, having I had some money earlier when I was in Toledo, I would say the second that I lost my job and it was hard to find work in Toledo, I would have left Toledo much sooner and probably went over in Indiana. Or I may have even went into Columbus, Ohio at that time. So that's what I mean by not putting yourself in a situation to where you're stuck in one place. And another lesson I've learned is when it comes to my vehicles, I always try to keep a vehicle big enough, such as a minivan or an SUV, to where if I ever had to live out of my vehicle due to, like for an example, let's say I was in Alabama and I lost my job. What I would have done was I would have took my van, I would have set it up to where I could live out of it temporarily, and I would have driven up to maybe Nashville and attempted to find work up in Nashville. And then to avoid having to pay housing prices in Nashville, I would have just simply lived out of my van. And of course, it's always important to have some sort of good rapport with at least a couple of people who live in your neighborhood. That way, like in my case, if anything were to come up and I had to leave my house, me and those people, we can exchange phone numbers, and then they can watch over my house and let me know if there's anything going on. And of course, if the shoe was on the other foot, I would do the same thing for them. Another lesson I've learned is the recession we're going through right now, for you younger folks out here, this is not the first recession that this country has had. It's not the second, and it's certainly not going to be the last. And I would say on average, I would say every 10 to 15 years, you can count on there being some sort of an economic meltdown, whether it be Rather the meltdown lasts a few months or it might last a couple of years. I would say every 10 to 15 years, be prepared for that to happen. So whenever times are good, the economy is strong, you need to go out there and take advantage of it. You need to make as much money as possible. You need to put away as much money as possible. And you need to live below your means. Don't live within your means. Live below your means. And those are some of the major lessons I've learned from the last recession. And I can't think of anything else to say on this topic. So I'm going to go ahead and end my commentary. And again, I want to hear from you guys of what you guys are going through right now, what you guys been through, what lessons you may have learned from the last recession and how you're implementing them on this recession. So on that note, stay blessed and enjoy the remainder of the video. And I'll catch you on the next video.